All right, let's go through a few different segments here. First segment that I want to go through is I want to talk about whether or not the Billboard Top 10 this week sucks. Yeah! All right, let's talk about whether or not the top 10 on Billboard this week sucks, which I think could be a fun, like, recurring statement. Not segment. Sorry, it's kind of weird to stream and not know how to talk. We have number 1, Olivia Rodrigo. Weeks at number 1. It's been 2. Last week it was at number 9. Weeks on chart generally 11. I like this track. I've talked about this track numerous times. I reviewed it when it originally came out. I think it's great. I like the intensity. I like kind of the piano rock vibe of it. I think it's got everything that some of her early stuff had, but improved and better singing, better lyrics. I think the track is really good. I think it's one of the stronger cuts on the Olivia Rodrigo record generally. So honestly, of this, I would give this a W as far as a placement on the Billboard Top 10 this week. We're trying to see if we get a 10 out of 10 here, by the way, okay? So we've got 1, in my opinion. You don't got to like the track, but I do. What do we got at number 2? Number 2, that would be Doja Cat with Paint the Town Red. I'm going to give this one a W as well. I know I have been a little critical of this track because I don't really like the fact that it kind of, continues to play into the everybody hates me narrative, nobody likes me narrative that she has been embracing with this current album cycle, which is, very much like fucking forced. But with that being said, I think this is the best produced single out of all the tracks that she has dropped as of late. I like the flow. I'm trying to remember. It's Dionne Warwick. The Dionne Warwick sample goes off as well. And I think it's generally all around a catchy song, catchiest single of this album cycle. And I like that she's, just kind of getting back to rapping on the track. So I like this one quite a bit. I think it's real good. This one's another W, adding this one to the W list for this week. All right. Number 3. Well, I mean, if you guys caught my recent review of Zach Bryan's album, it should be no surprise that I like this record and I like this song with Casey Musgraves. I Remember Everything. I think it's got some nice, beautiful duet vibes to it. I like their, vocal chemistry. I like Zach Bryan's approach to songwriting. I like that when it comes to country music right now, his sound is more rustic and authentic and interesting than a lot of the mainstream stuff that's out there. So honestly, I would give this a W as well. Really happy to see this on the chart at number 3 in a very high spot. So. All right, we have number 4, Luke Combs. I actually have not heard this track. I don't think I've heard much of this Luke Combs record. And when we do these spots, if I'm not familiar with something, I'm going to have to get familiar. I can't just give something a W or an L based off of like not having heard it. So, I mean, fuck, let's do it. Oh God, it's a cover? It's a cover of the Tracy Chapman song? Oh no, okay. How is this? Look, as a 90s kid, I very much have a soft spot for that Tracy Chapman song. I mean, just a lot of love for the track, a lot of love for the original. I can't really, and I've heard some bad covers of it. I'm having a hard time imagining like a country version of this song, especially a mainstream country version of the song being great. So I guess we'll have to see. Is this just a Fast Car reference? Yeah. It's terrible. The song does slap. We need a hot take rating, pre-listen, then post-listen to take ratio. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let's kind of give this a spin. I'll listen to it for as much as I can stand it. That is if it's bad. Maybe I'll like it. We'll see.
You got a fast car, and I want to take it. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got you, and I can both get jobs. Find a seat.
Okay, I mean, look, I'll say this. Luke Combs is not massively fucking this track up. He's not massively fucking the track up. He's not completely ruining it and making it worse than it is or anything like that. But I guess he's not really taking many creative liberties with it either. He's just kind of playing it pretty straight and just giving it a super slight Luke Combsy sort of twang, which, I mean, I guess for his audience, obviously, is enough to get them into it because the song is fucking number 4 in the Hot 100 right now. But is that enough for me? Not really. I would much rather just listen to the original. So yeah, you know, it's just kind of like a very unimaginative cover, though. I mean, I guess like if maybe, if that's enough to get people to check out the song, maybe hear the original version. I mean, that's a positive thing, but I'm not going to give this one a W. This is not a W inclusion on the chart for me. Still though, we are 3 for 4 and that's a pretty good ratio. 5, coming seemingly out of nowhere from the Lover era, isn't it? Taylor Swift hitting us with cruel summer. Like we're and summer's fucking over at this point. So at the start of fall, thank you very much for the sub. At the start of fall, with Lover being multiple years old at this point, we are getting Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer at number 5. But I mean, this is really just like kind of Taylor Swift's time, honestly. You know, she's like having quite the era at the moment when it comes to pop music and cultural dominance at the moment. This is really kind of like, you know, we're living in Taylor Swift's world. There have been multiple reports, and you can look this up. I imagine if you are, you know, of the music nerd type, you've already heard this and read this, especially if you're kind of terminally online. But there have been multiple reports saying that Taylor Swift's Eras Tour has been boosting the American economy. Like what we've been needing is Joe Biden and the Democrats to fucking get their shit together and like pass some legislation that actually like sends some money down the pipe to average working people. Sadly, that hasn't been happening. But Taylor Swift actually has come through and has been saving the economy in a way that politicians have just completely and utterly failed to over the past several years. But yeah, no, look it up. There have been multiple reports talking about it. I mean, maybe there's room to dispute the validity of it, but it seems like a pretty widely reported story that multiple officials have commented on in terms of Taylor Swift just kind of juicing up the economy a little more. So, and you know, look, I will say, a Cruel Summer, even if it is an older track, and you know, kind of curious to see newer tracks on here, but still, even if it is an older track, it is one of the better bangers off of Lover. So I would say its inclusion is a W all the same. So, you know, happy to hear this and see this one on the top 10. All right, at number 6, we've got Morgan Wallen, Last Night. You know, I've listened to most of the Morgan record. I haven't heard all of it. It was quite a lengthy one. And there weren't a lot of requests to review it, so I sort of just kind of let other records distract me. Maybe I have heard the track already, given that I listened to most. Yeah, no, I definitely heard the song already, but I'm not recalling it off the top of my head, so I'm just going to give myself a bit of a refresher here. Oh, yeah.
Last night we let the
Liquor talk, said it all.
You told me that you wish I would. No way it was our last night. I can't just talking about life, going sip for sip. Yeah, you
Going sip. Yeah, I mean, this is. Look, I'll say this. There's way worse mainstream and bro country out there. Like, you know, we could be talking about a Florida Georgia line track right now. But do I find Morgan Wallen to be an interesting songwriter? Do I think this instrumental is interesting? Not really. I think it's kind of cheap. I think it's basic. And I think the storyline going on the track is just, you know, really toxic and annoying. And I just don't really get a whole lot out of it. I would give the song an L. L inclusion on the top 10 Billboard. L. Still, 4 for 6 is not bad. 4 for 6 is not bad. Number 7, moving down further. Apparently it is Olivia's week. She has even more tracks on the charts out of the top 10, but she has 2 in the top 10 right now. The second of which being the other big single from her new record, Bad Idea Right. And yeah, I've talked about this track at length when I reviewed it, as well as kind of talking about it in the review for her new record. And I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I like the spoken word bits. I like the repetitive rock riffs. I like kind of the, back and forth of reconnecting with your ex and just wanting to sort of be friends, but kind of lying to yourself to sort of, get back with them. I think it's got some interesting elements to it. I think there's a ferocity to it as well. I like the explosivity of the performance and her vocals too. I think it's a good track. I think it's a banger. And I think Olivia is doing good stuff. I would give this a W. Another W inclusion. At number 8, SZA is still rocking on the charts with tracks from her SOS record. This one most likely because I think she recently came out with an acoustic cut of the song with like Justin Bieber. But yeah, Snooze, if you guys don't already know, not just from the review, but also I, with a personal friend of mine, did a little cover of this track, which, 40 weeks on the chart. That's insane, man. 40 weeks on the chart. Crazy. The song's almost been on the chart. I mean, just, a dozen more weeks, this song will be on the chart for a year. And I mean, again, not surprised because it's a great song. It's a great song. But again, with a personal friend of mine, I did a cover of this track as well that, went up on TikTok and Instagram Reels that came out pretty cool. And, what's interesting is that, again, she eventually decided to do like an acoustic version of it. Our version was pretty stripped, but I already saw the acoustic potential in it. But yeah, no, I love this song. I can't lose. It's a great tune. It's super smooth. It's super intimate. It's super lovely. I love the sentiment of the track, the writing, the chord progression, everything, the sparkly production. I think it's an absolutely killer cut off of this record. So yeah, absolutely. I would say this is a W inclusion on the top 10. All right. 6 for 8. Number 9, Gunna. For 13 weeks, this track has been on the charts. Peak position number 4. Last week it was at number 8, so it's going down a little bit, but still, we have Fuck You Mean. Guys, I did a review of Gunna's new record. If you recall, and if you remember the review, didn't like the album, thought it was boring, thought it was mid. But this track actually did stick out to me, mostly because of the production. I think that big group, chant of "fuck you mean" is, quite standout. But, I think any rapper really could have made this track. I just don't think Gunna is a super interesting or unique or standout rapper or vocalist by any stretch of the imagination. And, sure, it's listenable. Sure, it's vibey. But I think a more interesting, more standout rapper could have done something more interesting and stand out with it, honestly. Do you guys have strong opinions, strong feelings on this track? I'd go as far as to say he stinks. I suppose you could. You could go that far. And honestly, that's not even the meanest thing you could say about Gunna, So, yeah. That's right. There is still that song on his new record that has the smoke detector beep in the background. No strong opinions. It's a banger. Free Thugger, Free Slime, YSL Rico charges. But yeah, it's kind of hard to say. While I don't like the record overall, I do think this is one of the more standout tracks on the record. So I mean, I'm not really mad that it's on the chart. I think it's a catchy track. I think it's a well-produced track. The production does carry. That group chorus does carry. I wouldn't say it's an L. I wouldn't say it's a W. I'm neutral on it being in the top 10. I'm fine with it being in the top 10. I'm just fine with it. It's okay. Finally, Dua Lipa for 16 weeks, peak position number 6. Dance the Night Away. Or Dance the Night. Just Dance the Night. Excuse me. Which I still think is a banger after having reviewed the Barbie soundtrack. It has grown on me since it first came out, but I think the lovely, decadent disco vibes of the song are great. The grooves are there. Dua Lipa's vocals are quality too. And I'm really happy to see it still rocking on the chart because I think it is a solid single. And I would give this one a W inclusion. on the chart. Which, personal opinion of this top 10, given everything that I have favored and not favored, we can give the Billboard top 10 this week a 7 out of 10. It's not bad.